Namaste and good morning, everyone. Let's do some prayers before our class. Om Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parbrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Bhu Bhavaswaha, Tatsavitra Varenayam, Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi, Diyo Yo Naha Prachodayam. Asto ma satgamya, tamso ma jyotirgamya, mrityorma amritam gamya. Om sehna vavatu sehna bhunaktu saviryam karvavahi. Tejasvi navadhitamastu ma vidvishavahi. Om shanti 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 om. Today's topic is balance in life. Okay. When we do our Hatha Yoga practice, we try to balance our body. On both feet together, one foot at a time, on our shoulders, on our head, on our hands, different ways we try to balance our body. Balance is very important. Higher you are, the more you need to learn how to balance. Bigger you are, more balance is needed. More equilibrium you need to sustain yourself. We must find a way to keep a balance, but first we got to understand what we are trying to balance here. We got to learn how to balance between our work and home. Balance between families and friends. Balance between our bank balance and our expenditures. Balance between our children. We got to learn how to stroke this balance. Even balance between our vacation and work. If you cannot strike a balance, you will struggle to sustain your life. Whatever you have gained, you won't be able to control it. This balance which I'm trying to talk about or trying to explain is not just a physical balance. It's a very tricky thing. If I give you 10 stones to balance, most of you will be able to do it. But to find a balance, the kind of a balance I'm talking about, balance between your emotions, relations, commitments, truth, and lie. It is a constant thing. It's not that you can learn from books. This is something we need to practice. This is what we need to experience. There was a Chinese emperor, and he had a very wise minister. This emperor asked the minister how to rule effectively and how to take care of the people. Minister said there are two laws that govern everything: law of punishment and law of reward. And people have to work hard between these two: the fear of punishment and the pull of reward. That's how we rule. Emperor said, that's simple. I can do it. Okay, he said, you keep the department of punishment and I will keep the department of reward. So for the whole year, he kept giving the land, he kept giving the gifts, he kept giving the money, the promotions, and everybody praised the emperor. He was giving, giving, giving. Everybody said, what a wonderful emperor we have. And the minister had to punish. He had to whip. He had to put people into the jail. And sometimes he had to hang them too. Everyone was fearful of the minister. What a bad minister we have. At the end of the year, when emperor called everyone for a meeting, guess what? Nobody came. They thought he's so good, he's so kind, he will not mind. So they did not listen to him. And when minister called everybody for a meeting, the whole town showed up. The emperor realized. He said, okay, from next day, you reward and I will punish. But what people did, he made the minister the emperor. Emperor has to step down. So this both reward and punishment is in our hands. We cannot just divide it, especially when we are a leader. We got to see when to reward and when to punish. And that is a balance. This is a balance we got to learn. Emotions are so tricky to strike the balance. It's not easy. Churchill said, laws of the heart are different. In mathematics, 2 plus 2 is 4. But in emotional class, 2 plus 2 may be 8, maybe 4, or maybe anything else. That's how the emotions are. So then how do we balance emotions? So the secret of the emotional balance we got to find out. Because these emotions stay with us at home, at work, between our friends, everywhere. We live in a very, very sensitive world. Everything could be fine, happy, something triggers in your heart, and you lose that balance so quickly. Small things, very little things can make you lose your balance. If you pay attention, arguments or even the fights are not about big things. They become big if you don't put them into balance. In fact, they become huge. First thing we need to understand that balance is important in life, at every aspect of our life. Even look at the cosmos. What a wonderful balance God has created. We all know Earth spins around its own axis, 1,000 miles an hour. They say that if the speed of the Earth was 100 miles less, we would have a day that was 10 days longer, and the night 10 nights longer. You know, nothing would grow in that. And at night, everything will freeze. What a balance. The sun, millions of miles away from the Earth, even if it was an inch of a fraction closer, there will be no life on Earth. Forget about the sun. The moon also, which is closer than sun, if it was a fraction of an inch closer, tides will be so high. Now you see that God's balance. Balance that we see in the cosmos through that God is teaching us that we need a balance. balance between ourselves. Some people don't even believe in God. They don't even think that God has created all this. They think it just got created by itself. That's why that great scientist Newton, when he made that big model of this whole solar system, he didn't tell the students that he made it. He just put it in his lab. Students said, "Who made it?" "I don't know." "Where did it come from?" "I don't know." Students did not believe it. He said, if you do not believe that nobody made this, that somebody must have made this model, why do you think that there's no God or there's no creator of this beautiful solar system or solar system? You have to believe in God, believe in that higher power. So the balance in the cosmos is so fine, so well tuned, that keeps us in perfect composure and harmony from the cosmic balance. When we come down to our own ecological balance, every animal, every insect, every organism who's living on this earth, breathing the same air. We share the same temperature. A tide here, a heat wave there. We will have El Nino, which will change the coastal lines. We just keep cutting the trees, disturb the monsoons, and we are finding out. We are finding out what's happening over here. We are disturbing our own ecology. A few decades ago, in China, it was a predominantly farm country, and women worked in the farm. One year, they saw that there are millions of spiders in the farm, and women don't want to work. There are too many spiders. Then government killed the spiders so that women can work in the farm. That year, when they killed all the spiders, there was no harvest either. Because all the bugs ate the harvest. Little bugs came out, ate the harvest, and there was nothing to pick. They had to grow spider in the spider farms to put the spiders back into the farms. So every organism has its place on this earth. Every little creature has a role to play in this world. And the same way, everybody else, in a family also, in a company also, wherever we go, everybody got a role to play. Got to keep that balance. Nobody is too small and nobody is too big. We got to learn how to work together. And that is called finding the balance. Then we see this balance in our own body, physiological balance. You all know there's a iodine in our body. We need iodine. That's why they say that take the salt, which has iodine in it. How much iodine a human body needs? Less than a teaspoon. That is in our entire life. Doses we need every day is a nanogram. The power of the iodine has, when we were in the womb, if it was less, we wouldn't have grown properly. Brain cells wouldn't have grown. And if that nanogram is more, you become genius and you don't listen to anybody. Balance is needed. Even of that. That nanogram of iodine decides who you become. What a balance in our own physical body. and the rest of the body has the same kind of a balance. What a balance God has created. The same way we need a balance in our emotional world. Because we know that if we have a balance in our body, we call it a healthy body. If you have a balance in your face, we call it a beautiful face. If you have a balance in the pillars of the building, we call it a strong building. And if you have a balance in our words, in our statements, we'll have a weight in what we say. That's why we say that speak with a balance. Even in the teams, when they play games, balance in the team is called success. They know how to play harmoniously. So that's why balance in life between your work, home, children, your aspiration, your inspiration. That's where we get the joy and happiness, which we all are looking for. We do everything for our happiness, our joy. You do not have to have the great success in this material world. You don't even need a great occupation, but you have to have a great combination of these different things in your life to call yourself successful. These emotions are also called moods. Change your mood and you will change the environment. That's what a balanced personality is. Learning how to change the emotions, how to change the mood. Most of the times we want to change our environment to change our mood. It doesn't work that way. We have only so much control over the outer field, which is called a macrocosm. All the macro balance we are discussing is nothing compared to the micro balance we need to accomplish within, in the world of our emotions, our moods, the world of relations, the world of mood. Sometimes they are uncontrollable. Sometimes they are unpredictable. That's why stability of the mind is more important than anything else in the world. Outer, we have only so much control. Inner, we should have full control. That is the sadhana we do as a yoga student. And this is what Lord Krishna told Arjuna right before the war. Arjuna lost the balance. When he said, Siddhanti mam gatrani mukham cha parishusyati. He said, my mouth is dry. My body is shaking. My mind is twirling. I don't know what to do. He was losing the balance. He says, I cannot fight. I'm losing the composure. What did Krishna do? He did not say, let me give you a massage in your hands and legs because they are trembling. No. Lord Krishna said, get rid of that cowardice in your heart, in your mind. You have a duty to perform right now. Stay balanced. Rather than changing the environment around you, he did not say we're going to run away and we're going to find a balance. He said, no, this is the environment. We are here in the middle of the war zone. That is the macrocosm. Change your microcosm. Your emotions, your mind, your heart. Bring the change within you. So the secret of finding and striking that balance is in us. That is what Gita says. And once we find that if more than all the degrees we have acquired, all the money we have accumulated, this balance has a lot more power than all of it together, or even a lot more than that. We all know if we need some kind of an operation, we find the best doctor. All the certificates are in the office. We have checked it all out. But right before our surgery, if somebody tells us there's a doctor's, some close relative died yesterday, and he's very disturbed, will we have the surgery done by that doctor? We won't. So that's why this balance of the mind, balance of the emotions, balance of our mood is so much more important. We also call it a stability of the mind. That's why yoga is all about making our mind stable. And we all know that if our mind is clean, it can be made stable easily. That's why the whole yogic process starts with the cleaning of the mind first, then making the mind stable. That's why the yam and the niyams first, and then comes later on the dharana, dhyan, and samadhi. Clean your mind, bring the calmness in your mind. But if we look at our lives, are our minds stable? We even lose our mind over traffic. We become crazy 20 times a day. In fact, it has become a fashion to call that, oh, I'm going crazy over this. Just like we are advertising our diseases these days, the same way we advertise how unstable we are. When we become angry, we have given the remote control to other people. Remember that. Anger is a disease. Anger is a gateway to hell. We are so egoistic. We think everybody is watching us. We think everything is about us. We got to just learn how to control ourselves, control our mood. Do not let anyone else be in charge of your mood. That's your mood, your emotion. Starting today, watch how many times you get disturbed in a day. Write it down every time you get disturbed, even a little bit disturbed. Just have a little piece of paper or even on your phone, just mark it. I got disturbed. I got disturbed. At the end of the day, watch how many times you lost control over your mind. That's the only way we will figure it out, how to control it, how to strike that balance which I'm talking about. There is a way to find a balance in turmoil. Because if we start watching it, we'll know how to create this balance also. Majority of the problems which overwhelm us, they are not even our own problems. We make them our own problems. So by being aware of it, we keep them at an arm's length. So if you are not balanced, you will get disturbed at every little thing. If you're watching, then you can keep your composure. What others are saying is none of our problem. Remember when you were little, that story between a son and a father and the donkey? Always remember that. Whether the son was sitting on the donkey, people didn't like it. They made a comment. When father was sitting on the donkey, they didn't like it. When both were sitting on the donkey, they didn't like that either. When they picked up the donkey on their hands, they still didn't like it. This world is not fair. If you are doing something good, even if you are doing good, it's not good enough for everybody. If you do bad, sure, you are the worst person. If you do nothing, you are lazy. And if you are doing too much, you are showing off. This is what you will hear from people. So you got to know where you stand in order to create a great balance inside you. So we need to find a balance. Let me give you some cues today. Number one, learn to respect. All the people who come into your life, it could be your cab driver, or your spouse, your children, your cleaning person, your boss, anybody. Because we deal with people, we are social beings. We have friends also, and we have acquaintances also. They all deserve respect. What did we see? What did we read in Mahabharata yesterday? The Pandavas, including Lord Krishna, right before the war, both the armies are standing there. They took their shoes off, they put their weapons aside, and they went into that enemy camp and did their pranam to Bhishma Pitama and the teachers. That is showing respect even to the enemies. And when they showed respect, what did they get? They got the blessings. This is what happens when we show respect. But remember, this respect has to be genuine though. Genuine. And that's how these Pandavas had the genuine respect for their grandfather and the teachers. You do not have to do what they say, but we have to respect everybody. When you respect a person, an event, you will understand them and they will understand you. Your problems will lessen right away. Because majority of our problems occur because we do not respect and understand the other people. I'm sure this popular story which goes around in the social media these days, you have heard. That one time there was a man traveling with the two young boys. And they were loud, rowdy. Everyone was getting so disturbed. And someone was about to tell the father that we have had it. Control your boys. Father said it right away. I am so sorry. Their mother passed away only a few hours ago. She had cancer. Everyone became sympathetic. They took children in their lap. Can't we understand when somebody is not behaving? Maybe they are going through a tough time. That's why I said respect and understand. There will be balance inside your mind right away. There won't be anger, there won't be resentment. There won't be me and you. There will be oneness. Respect. Certain problems won't go away with understanding and respect. What do you do then? Accept. Accept. Change the things you can and accept the things you can't. I'm sure you've all heard that. We got to practice this. These are not just the sayings to memorize. These are the very words from very wise people's mouth they came out. You will restore balance right away if you accept. It's just like a weather. We cannot change it. Don't we accept it? We cannot change when it's raining. We just take umbrella if we have to go. In Chicago right now, we know the blizzard is coming. We accept it and we make the changes. We don't let our mind get disturbed. Find a way to accept. Accept the situation, only then you can turn it around. After accepting, definitely act. That is step number 3. We got to do our duty. Lord Krishna did not say that, yeah, we have respected them. We accept where we are. Then he says, yes, we have to act also now. We got to do our duty. Act. Because you will not restore balance until you act. It's almost like if you are sick. Accept that there's a sickness, then act upon it, what you need to do. Do you need to take more rest or a medicine or go to the doctor? Whatever you need to do, act. We all know that famous story about Mahatma Gandhi. He was thrown out of the train. He recognized it. He came back to India and he acted upon it. That's why they say that the country got free with that action. Otherwise, if you just stay disturbed, keep somebody else bossing you around, you will stay like that. The movement was started. You all know Shri Aurobindo. When he was thrown in the jail, what did he do? He got hold of Bhagavad Gita. He became a leader of humanity, a spiritual leader. So do not expect that nothing wrong will happen to you. Turn the wrong into the right. So respect, accept, and act. And if it still doesn't go your way, because sometimes it won't, reflect on God. Will of God is more important than my wish. Our wish or our will is just yours and mine. Will of God is the greatest cushion, actually. That's why they say, if the things happen according to my wish, sure, I should be happy. But if things do not happen according to my wish, I should be happier. Because it happened according to God's wish. That's called surrender. This energy makes you stronger inward. You find the utmost level of balance with this God's help. You have all heard about it, Oppenheimer. You remember that atom bomb? When they were testing it, it exploded somewhere in New Mexico. And while they were testing, he was holding onto a post. And a reporter asked him afterwards that physically you took the sport of a pole to balance. What sported your mind? He said, Bhagavad Gita. He said, I remembered the words of Krishna, I am the shatterer of the world. A German scientist can seek out for balance in Bhagavad Gita. Why can't we? Gandhi himself said, I would have been a lunatic long ago without prayers. All these great people, that's why it's very important to know the life stories of great people. Where did they find balance? How did they create that harmony? Even Lincoln was asked one time, I mean, you know Lincoln, he failed many times. Many times. And one time somebody asked him that where did you find the strength? He said, I always look within and find God. Get inspiration from there. Those were Lincoln's words. We constantly talk about the freedom, choices, control, etc. We think that my mind will be calm if I have all that freedom, if I have this, if I have that. But if you think about it, did we have freedom in most of the things in our life? Did we choose which day we should have been born? The birthdays which we celebrate every year? We didn't have freedom for that. Did we choose our name? Did we choose our height and the color or the color of our eyes? No freedom there. Will we choose our death date? No. Can we choose our diseases? In fact, most of the eye specialists wear glasses. We cannot choose that. Think about it. We did not choose our name. We did not choose our parents. Did our parents, could they choose us? Everything around us, where we find the joy and the misery, we did not choose. Only thing we can choose is the calmness of our mind. We have that power. We got to remember that. That power is in our hands. Another famous saying you often hear, that life is a game of cards. You cannot choose the cards, you only choose the ways you play, right? It's a very common saying these days. So we cannot choose the kind of a face we have, the height or even the color of the skin. Try not to be disturbed. Accept it. Accept it. Whatever comes your way, rise above it. Strength lies within you, not outside of you. Don't think that by going there, by having it, by being in certain company, I'll have peace. No, it's all inside you. If you're calm and quiet, you can rise above any difficulty. And that's what a balanced mind is. The next thing you got to do is introspect also. Look within. After accepting, after reflecting on God also, introspect. Next time, how will I do things? Whatever I'm learning, am I applying that in my life or not? And interact also. If you cannot deliver, you won't have that joy. Do not be selfish. Restore your balance, but definitely make sure that balance is kept in the outer world also. More successful you are, more adjustments you have to make everywhere. That's what Lord Krishna said. As a yogi, your mind should not be agitated. Then make sure you do not agitate somebody else's mind too. You are responsible for that also. Higher you go, more responsibility you have. Nobody is a permanent enemy, and nobody is a permanent friend. To restore balance in your control your mind, accept God's will as the ultimate will. To restore balance around you, be nice. By being nice, you will not hurt anybody else. It's very important to be nice, genuinely nice. Because if you're nice, you are looking for others' joy and comfort also, you will create a balance around yourself. Another little story, let me tell you. These are from our history. We got to learn from other people's life. I'm sure you have heard about Oscar Wilde in England. He was a great thinker, very big writer. Life was not perfect though for him. As a writer and thinker, he was a very big person, very popular person in early 20s, in his early 20s. But he became famous. Sometimes we become famous at a young age. We end up doing something wrong too. So he committed a moral offense and he was being dragged into the jail. There was a crowd of people. People were shouting, booing. He felt humiliated because once you are put on the pedestal, then when you're in that kind of a situation, you feel awful. In that crowd, he saw an old man who dropped his head and lifted his head. And Oscar Wilde saw him. And in his own memoirs from the jail, he wrote, I do not know till the present moment who this man was. Whether he is conscious with his actions, I stored that moment in the treasure house of my heart. I keep it there as a secret debt. I never repaid the old man. When all my wisdom became profitless, when my philosophy became barren, nothing came to my rescue. When the proverbs and the phrases I have written, dusty in my mouth, the simple memory of this silent act of removing a hat made my desert bloom. A simple act of removing the hat, giving respect, was not forgotten. Can we do that for people? Can we be nice? Or do we just join the crowd and bring somebody else's fame down? Be nice. When we become nice to others, it comes back to us and gives us a calmness. And that's what Upanishads say. Let me end this with this Upanishads saying, Etat alambanam shreshtam, etat alambanam param. Etat alambanam gyatva brahmaloke mahiyata. Know God to be your greatest pillar. Only then you'll be strong. Know God to be your greatest portal. Know that God and the smallest act you do for God will become eternal. When you have faith in God, no problem is too big. No situation is too hard. It is because of God. It's the blessings of the God we live. We should never forget. So remember this. So if you want to stay balanced, remember God. Thank God. Show your gratitude to God. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaye Purnameva Vishishyate. Om Shanti 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 Om. Thank you very much.